Welcome to Sheikh Hamdan's official fan channel, where hearts unite to celebrate the grace, strength, and poetry of Dubai's crown prince and the ever-evolving dynamics of the royal family. This is your trusted space for rare glimpses into the life, emotions, and moments that define the extraordinary legacy of Sheikh Hamdan. We bring you closer to the soul behind the royalty, a man whose charm and humility have captivated millions across the globe. In a recent tender revelation that touched the hearts of followers worldwide, Sheikh Hamdan's beloved wife, Sheikh Thani, took to his Instagram to share a poem wrapped in emotion, sincerity, and love. A poetic confession, a quiet storm of vulnerability, titled, "I am deeply sorry for my actions." This rare and moving piece has stirred a tidal wave of compassion and curiosity, revealing another intimate chapter in their enduring love story. Today, we are honored and thrilled to present to you the English translation of this profound expression, which unveils the soul of a woman who dares to love a prince with all her flaws, yet with infinite devotion. The words are as raw as they are regal, a rare gift from the royal hearts to the world. So stay with us, as we unfold this mesmerizing poem filled with emotion, grace, and the courage to apologize. Poem translation: I did not mean to bruise the stars you placed in my sky, nor dim the light you kept burning when my storms passed by. Your silence was thunder, but I heard love in its roar. Still, I broke petals beneath my feet, asking for more. I am not perfect, even in royal robes and ancient names, just a woman who faltered while dancing in love's flames. You gave me grace, I returned it with trembling hands, afraid to lose you in winds I did not understand. Forgive me for the shadows I cast in your sunlit days, for the times I whispered fears in unbecoming ways. I now regret like a gown stitched in pearl and sorrow, but my love remains, a promise for every tomorrow. You stood still when I ran from the mirror of my own heart, and waited, like a king, for me to remember my part. I am deeply sorry for the echoes that shattered your peace, for the dreams I paused, when I should have helped them increase. My tears now fall not from shame, but hope anew, that in the silence, your heart still calls me true. I was not lost, only learning how to return to the fire in your eyes, for which I endlessly yearn. You taught me that love does not always wear crowns, sometimes it kneels, in silence, on battlegrounds. This is my surrender, not of pride, but of fear. May these words find you, and draw you near. Let not this be the end, but a turning page, where forgiveness meets us softly, age by age. I choose you, still, with every thread of soul and breath, even in the spaces where love has flirted with death. In the first stanza, Sheikh Thani begins with an image of celestial beauty, stars in the sky and a light that has been carefully kept alive by Sheikh Hamdan. By saying, "I did not mean to bruise the stars you placed in my sky," she acknowledges the love, joy, and emotional security he gave her. Her regret lies in unintentionally harming or taking that love for granted. The thunder of his silence signifies his deep hurt, yet she still hears his love through it. This reflects her longing to reconnect, even through his disappointment. The second stanza reveals Sheikh Thani's self-awareness. Despite her royal status, she admits that she is fallible. I am not perfect, even in royal robes. Her vulnerability shines through as she confesses to making mistakes in the intensity of love. The image of dancing in love's flames suggests passion and risk, how love, while beautiful, can also lead to unintended harm when not handled with care. Her trembling hands reflect uncertainty and fear of losing the man she loves. The third stanza is a powerful apology. She acknowledges casting shadows on his bright days, moments where her fears, perhaps expressed harshly or through emotional distance, caused pain. The metaphor of wearing regret, like a gown stitched in pearl and sorrow, beautifully combines elegance with pain, showing that her remorse is deeply felt and worn with dignity. Yet her love stands firm, anchored in the hope of redemption and healing. In the fourth stanza, Sheikh Thani draws a poignant contrast between Sheikh Hamdan's steadfastness and her inner turmoil. While she metaphorically ran from her own reflection, unable to face her flaws, he waited, like a patient king. This reveals his emotional strength and capacity for forgiveness. Her apology intensifies as she admits to disrupting his peace and stalling the dreams they shared, which she now longs to reignite. The fifth stanza is deeply emotional. Her tears are not born from guilt alone, but from a renewed hope that their love can survive this storm. Her line, "Your heart still calls me true," suggests she believes in the enduring bond between them, even in silence. She emphasizes that her journey was never about betrayal or abandonment, but about growth, learning how to return to the one she never stopped loving. She continues by honoring the idea that love, even royal love, requires humility. The line, "Love does not always wear crowns," is striking. It speaks to love's true nature, which often involves quiet struggles and unseen sacrifices. She likens their relationship to a battlefield, implying that the act of kneeling, apologizing, surrendering, is just as noble as reigning. This is her emotional surrender, not as a sign of weakness, but as a brave. The seventh stanza is a hopeful plea. She asks Sheikh Hamdan not to see this moment as the end, but as a chance to turn the page together. Her vision of forgiveness is gentle, gradual, and timeless, something that can grow stronger with time. The phrase, "softly, age by age," paints the idea of enduring love that matures through trials and seasons. In the eighth stanza, she makes a reaffirmation, "I choose you, still." This is her ultimate declaration of love. Despite their struggles, despite the pain, her soul remains tethered to him. The haunting image of spaces where love has flirted with death implies that their relationship came close to breaking, yet her heart still chooses him above all. The ninth stanza shows a woman who is willing to rebuild. She asks for another chance, to be found again, as she once was, in the peaceful moments of dawn. The phrase, "Let us rebuild where the damage has drawn," expresses her hope for healing and renewal, suggesting that love is not static. It can be repaired, reimagined, and reborn. Finally, in the 10th stanza, Sheikh Thani concludes with sincerity and emotional intensity. She places Sheikh Hamdan's name on her lips, a symbol of devotion and longing, and offers her plea with grace. Her apology is no longer just about the past, but about the future. A soft, open-handed invitation to come back, to love again, and to continue their story as two imperfect people growing through love. Sheikh Thani sat alone in the vast stillness of her private majlis, the silence echoing louder than the clinking of her gold bracelets against the teacup she hadn't touched in hours. She had always played her cards with grace, manipulating the threads of court life with a subtlety that few noticed. But this time, her plan had backfired, not on her, but on the two people she never imagined would bleed because of her ambition. Sheikh Hamdan's eyes, once so full of quiet devotion for Hadia Zen, now bore a hollow grief that haunted her more than she cared to admit. The realization came not as a lightning strike, but as a slow burning fire, eating through the layers of justification she had used to shield herself. Yes, she had whispered the doubts, carefully fed the insecurities, and orchestrated encounters that sowed mistrust. She did it because she believed Hadia was not of their world, because she feared the influence of an outsider whose love threatened the hierarchy she had fought to uphold. But in destroying their bond, she had unraveled something sacred. And now, the palace felt colder, less alive, without their quiet love story flowing through its veins. What hurt more was that Hadia had never fought back. Even when the rumors grew cruel, even when the court turned its eyes and whispers toward her, she remained silent. Dignified. Loving. Hadia hadn't blamed anyone aloud, not even when she left. And Sheikh Hamdan, with all his power, had looked helpless as he watched her go, his strength faltering in the absence of her light. Thani saw now that her meddling hadn't protected anyone. It had only exposed her own fear of losing relevance in a world shifting towards something more honest, more heartfelt. She could not take back the words she had planted like thorns in fertile soil. But she could no longer pretend they hadn't taken root. Every time she passed Hamdan in the corridors, his gaze distant, his smile absent, she felt the weight of her choices. Her prestige meant nothing in the face of that look, the silent verdict that screamed, "You did this." She had broken something rare and precious. Not with cruelty, but with entitlement dressed as concern, pride masquerading as duty. Now, Sheikh Thani stood at the threshold of redemption, though she didn't yet know what form it would take. Perhaps it was time to confess, to speak the truth in a palace built on silence. Or maybe, it was enough to start by mending what could still be salvaged, if not the love, then at least the wounds left behind. Because in the end, the guilt she carried was heavier than her pride, and she knew she could no longer bear it alone. If you can find me once more, in the hush of dawn, let us rebuild where the damage has drawn. With your name on my lips and grace in my plea, I am deeply sorry, come back to me, Stay tuned for more exclusive content, love letters, poetry, and royal insights only here on Sheikh Hamdan's official channel. Let this be a reminder that even in royal lives, the language of love and apology speaks louder than